if you are trying to conduct audits and figure out where the waste, fraud, and abuse is, I don't know why you would go to some tech guy. In fact, it was only techies that were sitting there at inauguration. We didn't have auditors. I would welcome auditors to come in and do forensic audits. In fact, he sat there in the Oval Office yesterday and he admitted that he was lying and he was using his propaganda machine to do it when he said that we sent millions of dollars to Gaza for condoms. That was a lie. So let me tell you something.
The gentlelady's time has expired.
It's time for
the
us
gentlelady's
to do our
time
job.
has
Donald Trump just had a meltdown so epic, it makes his spray tan look stable. And guess who lit the match? Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, armed with receipts, sass, and absolutely no chill. Just dragged Elon Musk into the chaos, and now Trump's somewhere screaming into a Diet Coke. What did she expose? Why is Musk suddenly sweating battery acid? Buckle up, because this wild ride includes billionaires, Twitter meltdowns, and one presidential ego that's officially cracked like a dropped iPhone. Let's dive in.
Like, when I tell you that the level of incompetence is almost like incomprehensible, it is so bad. And when you bring up the idiot known as Elon Musk, he is not only like very sinister and has no idea of what he's doing, and people are like, oh no, he absolutely knows because he's the richest man in the world. Like, yes, he knows how to hire smart people, but don't conflate that and believe that he is the genius, because he ain't.
Trump just had what can only be described as a digital temper tantrum of Olympic proportions, flailing on Truth Social like a toddler hopped up on Red Bull and crushed cheeseburgers. And what triggered this orange avalanche of outrage? Not the economy, not immigration, not even being told he looked like a melted traffic cone. No, the existential threat to his fragile ego came from none other than Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, who casually lobbed a truth grenade in Elon Musk's direction that detonated right in Trump's lap.
I don't like Elon Musk. I'm gonna say it 50,000 times. I don't like him. I don't like that he going out there and he firing people. I think that he's a crook because somehow the rest of us can't sit around and get whatever federal contracts we want. The rest of us can't sit around and get law enforcement and get them somehow ordained as federal law enforcement to protect him. The rest of us can't get our dealerships protected by the federal government. That is somebody that is operating above the law. For whatever reason, just because he has a lot of money, more money than everybody else. And yes, I am happy to see that on my birthday, which is what I said, there were peaceful protests around this world against him because he is a problem.
Jasmine Crockett, who has made a habit out of embarrassing Republicans before lunch, decided it was time to shine a spotlight on Elon Musk's secret political love affair with the MAGA circus. One moment, she's calmly dissecting policy like a pro, and the next, she's dragging Musk's name into the center ring like it's amateur night at the Accountability Club. And suddenly, Trump's ego short-circuits like a Mar-a-Lago chandelier during hurricane season.
Unfortunately, the Republicans in the House have decided they don't really care. Whatever Elon wants to do, who cares that they got elected to office? They're going to collect their checks. They're going to take the congressional delegation trips around the world, and that's pretty much all they're going to do, and campaign for the next election through sitting through committees. But at the same time, we know that Elon Musk supposedly does not have any authority whatsoever, according to the White House, at least in their court filings. But the idea that this guy thinks that he can go in and send out an email to the entire federal government and have everyone report to him when at the same time they're saying that he has no authority is bewildering to me.
Let's be real here. Trump doesn't care about Elon Musk out of admiration. He cares because Musk is one of the few billionaires who occasionally tosses him a bone. You see, when you're the unofficial mascot of delusion, you cling to any tech bro who hasn't publicly unfollowed you. But Crockett wasn't having it. She laid bare Elon's little charade, playing neutral while propping up right-wing nonsense, and Trump went into DEFCON spray tan.
I just want to say thank you, because every day that we show up in D.C., we show up for you. We know who we work for. We know that we work for the American people. And what we're not going to do is stand around while they pull this bullshit that they trying to pull right now. Go ahead. This is why I'm not going to be able to preach, because I probably won't be able to stop cussing. But let me tell y'all something. I know some of
been frustrated, and you've been saying, where are the Democrats? Where are our leaders? Well, I'm here to tell you that we ain't never left y'all, all right? We are here. We are also going to make sure that they uphold the law. We are not going to sit around while you go ahead and desecrate our Constitution, or you look at the laws that have been passed into law and say, never mind, we'll just ignore that. Instead, we are going to be in your face, we are going to be on your asses, and we are going to make sure you understand what democracy looks like.
Now, what exactly did Jasmine Crockett expose? Oh, just the fact that Elon's been quietly backing policies and politicians that turn America into a poorly scripted dystopian sci-fi flick. Musk, who keeps preaching about free speech like he's the Dalai Lama of Wi-Fi, has been getting cozy with MAGA lawmakers behind closed doors, brokering deals, and polishing boots like he's auditioning for a cabinet role in Trump's next fever dream of a presidency. Crockett called it out. The man who claims to be apolitical somehow always ends up with Republican talking points in his mouth and Trump's footprint on his back. And Twitter, because nothing says innovation like confusing everyone, became a flaming dumpster of right-wing conspiracy theories faster than Musk could fire another engineer. The moment Crockett dragged Musk's name into the conversation, the Elon Defense League activated faster than a Tesla on autopilot crashing into a parked police car. But even they couldn't clean up the mess. Trump, watching from his golden toilet throne, decided this wasn't just an attack on Elon. No, this was clearly a communist plot against himself.
The American people, I want to be clear that this really is not partisan. I know that it looks very partisan, but at the end of the day, we know that the cuts that the Republicans are proposing, that these cuts are not only going to impact Democrats and independents, but Republicans as well. In fact, we know that the Republicans have decided that they don't want to answer to their constituents. They put out official guidance saying, do not go home and do town halls. And so right now, the Democrats are carrying the load for not only our constituency, but for theirs too, because clearly they don't have the answers for their constituents, which the honest to goodness truth is that they don't answer to their constituents. They only have decided that they're going to answer to Elon Musk and Donald Trump.
Within minutes, Trump started firing off unhinged posts with the grace of a drunk raccoon typing with ham fingers. He accused everyone and everything, media, Democrats, shadows, maybe even the moon, of conspiring against his bestie, Elon. You'd think Musk had just been accused of stealing Ivanka's skincare routine the way Trump reacted. What's especially hilarious is that Elon didn't even respond. Not a tweet, not a meme, not even one of those cryptic one-word posts like interesting or truth that make Reddit light up like a Christmas tree. And that silence? Oh, it spoke volumes. Because when Elon Musk is quiet, it's either because his PR team is frantically scrubbing Google or because he's recharging his cyborg heart with plutonium. Now, let's not forget the ridiculous history between these two overgrown man-children. It all started when Musk joined Trump's business council back when he pretended to be a concerned citizen. Then the climate agreement fell apart, and Elon made a dramatic exit, like a diva storming off stage in a Tesla Roadster. Fast forward a few years, and they're both cozying up again over mutual hatred for accountability. Trump sees Musk as a symbol of rebellion. Musk sees Trump as, well, a useful distraction from lawsuits, labor strikes, and exploding rockets.
Is that this has been painted as Democrats are for, waste, fraud, and abuse, and it's because they are the swamp and that kind of stuff. And I got news for you. The only fraudsters that we see is the one that was actually convicted of fraud in a court, the one who also was found liable as it relates to his businesses for fraud. Him and his goons are the problem in this country right now, and it is so sad when.
So when Jasmine Crockett, with all the calm of a surgeon and the sass of someone who's been on hold with Comcast for an hour, exposed the true nature of Musk's political flip-flopping, Trump had no choice but to throw a fit. Because if people start seeing Musk as a MAGA pawn, then the house of mirrors that Trump's built for himself starts to crack. Crockett didn't just say Elon's hands were dirty, she offered the receipts, the fingerprints, and probably the DNA swab. And it hit a nerve. Hard. Trump's not used to losing billionaires to facts. Normally, he keeps them in line with flattery and favors, like a mob boss who trades loyalty for weirdly aggressive hugs. But Jasmine Crockett messed up the formula. She spoke facts and made it entertaining. Now Trump's pacing around Mar-a-Lago trying to convince donors that Elon is being victimized by a woke ninja sent by the deep state. Meanwhile, the rest of us are watching the billionaire bromance crumble like a stale MAGA cookie. Elon's silent, Trump's seething, and Jasmine? She's casually sipping her tea, letting the chaos do the talking. And because Trump has the self-awareness of a wet sock, he immediately internalized the moment. In his head, this wasn't about Musk's shady politics. It was about his own credibility crumbling. If Musk, the crown prince of tech libertarianism, is exposed as just another partisan bootlicker, then what does that make Trump? Oh right, just the guy holding the leash.
Well, he did say he'd be a dictator on day one. Oh, Democrats, you know, it's just Trump. He just talks. Well, let me tell you something. He is doing more than talking. We talked about Project 2025. We talked about the consolidation of power. We talked about how he wanted to be a king. We talked about in a democratic republic, that is not what it is. We have some sort of checks and balances, and he is doing everything that he can to get rid of those checks and balances. The DOJ and the people that he's going after were simply doing their jobs. The problem is that Americans thought that it was okay to take a full-fledged criminal and make him the president of the United States, and then they want to act aghast when he does criminal things.
The panic spilled into his campaign. Fundraising emails went out faster than Musk firing Twitter staff. The subject lines practically screamed, "They're coming for Elon, and you're next." You'd think Crockett had personally unplugged Trump's internet access, and the MAGA influencers, oh bless them. They started spinning so hard they nearly drilled into the Earth's crust. One suggested that Jasmine was a secret operative trained in psychological warfare. Another floated the idea that Musk was being blackmailed by solar panels. And somewhere, someone definitely blamed George Soros, because it's not a proper meltdown without that name tossed in like a seasoning packet. All the while, Elon stayed quiet. Because let's face it, when you've been pantsed in public by a sitting congresswoman and your biggest offender is a man who tried to buy Greenland, there's really no dignified response. But Crockett didn't stop there. Oh no, she used the attention to spotlight other issues Musk would rather bury, like the suppression of black voices on X, the lack of labor rights at Tesla factories, and the fact that SpaceX gets fat government checks while Musk whines about socialism. The contradictions started piling up like Trump's legal fees.
Because he is a problem. And so you never should have somebody that is sitting that high and is going to sit up here and threaten a sitting member of Congress when she knew good and well, if she watched the entire thing, that I specifically told protesters to make sure you consult with lawyers, just like I've told protesters over and over and over in the history of me advising people to go out and exercise their constitutional right. The fact that there are other sitting members that have received letters of threat from this new DOJ tells me that they are about retribution and they are not about following the law.
It's a classic Musk move. Cry about big government while cashing government subsidies. Complain about canceling culture while silencing critics on your platform. Sell yourself as a genius while your tunnels catch fire and your cars spontaneously combust. And Jasmine Crockett, bless her heart, just handed America the Cliff Notes. Trump, of course, doesn't get nuanced. He's still ranting, still acting like Elon is the last life raft on his sinking ship of a campaign. But every time he defends Musk, it only reinforces the thing Jasmine exposed in the first place, that these two are as self-serving, thin-skinned, and out of touch as a Mar-a-Lago buffet menu. And the public? Oh, they're loving it. Memes exploded across the internet faster than a Tesla battery on a hot day. And the best part? This wasn't even a planned takedown. Jasmine wasn't out to feud. She just saw hypocrisy, named it, and moved on. It's not her fault that exposing the truth to Trump is like tossing a Mentos into a Diet Coke bottle with a Twitter account. So here we are, Trump's spiraling, Musk's hiding, MAGA's confused, and Jasmine Crockett, she's somewhere scrolling through the chaos, probably deciding which billionaire to embarrass next.
I think that that is the mindset that my colleagues do have in the House. It's just a matter of how are we going to effectuate this? Because our best way of stopping Trump is in the House. He's stuck in the White House for 4 years. God bless us all. And we know that the Senate map still isn't necessarily our strength in the next 2 years. But here it is. I can't even imagine 2 years. We haven't had 30 days, and I'm already tired of him and his nonsense. So for me, I want to focus on these special elections. I at least want to try. Listen, I don't win if I don't try.
Because in the political clown show that is 2025, sometimes all it takes is one bold voice to expose that the emperors aren't just naked, They're tweeting about how great their clothes are. And if Trump's this rattled now, just wait until Crockett brings up Jeff Bezos. Jasmine Crockett's exposure of Elon Musk didn't just hit a nerve. It hit every nerve Elon didn't know existed, causing a tech billionaire meltdown that no one saw coming. And no one loves pretending more than Elon Musk, the guy who made free speech his personal brand, all while secretly cozying up to the far-right agenda. But Jasmine didn't just expose Musk. Oh no, she wasn't about to play small. She went straight for the jugular, showing how the entire MAGA machine is being fueled by Silicon Valley money, a little corporate puppet master action behind the scenes. Imagine that. The very tech overlords who act like they're too busy inventing electric cars and launching rockets are also bankrolling the kind of politics that would make your grandma clutch her pearls. Musk, with his neutral stance on politics, was suddenly wearing the billionaire puppet badge, and it's safe to say he wasn't thrilled about it.
You guys, and when I say you guys, I am referring to my Republican colleagues, pretend as if you are the heroes of the story, but let me remind you who set the house on fire. It was y'all. So let me go ahead and handle these receipts, because I know that I always have to have proof, even though I guess our education system is failing us, because it seems like facts don't seem to faze people that vote for y'all, but I'm gonna do it anyway. So when we talk about debt, I'd ask for unanimous consent to enter into a record this article that says Donald Trump built a national debt so big, even before the pandemic, that it'll weigh down the economy for years.
Enter Trump, who just had to weigh in, of course. If there's one thing we know about the Donald, it's that he hates the idea of being anyone's puppet, even when his entire political existence looks like one big puppet show. The man wants to be the people's champion, the blue-collar billionaire who's got a direct line to the working man's heart. And what's worse than finding out that the billionaire class, which includes your buddy Elon, is secretly propping up the very politics you've been railing against. That's the kind of exposure that makes Trump sweat more than the time he forgot to put on his spray tan before an interview. Now let's talk about Elon's silence. You'd think a man who never shuts up would have something to say after being dragged into this mess, right? Wrong. Elon, usually so quick to jump into Twitter wars like he's auditioning for the next Avengers movie, suddenly became quieter than the sound of a Tesla running on low battery. The internet, as always, didn't miss a beat. The fact that Elon didn't clap back, it was like watching a superhero freeze mid-flight. He didn't just look guilty, he looked like he knew exactly what was going on behind closed doors and didn't want to talk about it. Talk about an awkward pause in the middle of a Twitter feud.
So, unfortunately, we have someone that is occupying the White House, and as far as I'm concerned, he is an enemy to the United States. He swore an oath just like the rest of us. But right now, when you are literally putting us at risk, all because of what? Because you want to convince your followers that you should be a dictator too, that you should never leave the White House, because you don't believe that elections should take place. I don't really understand what is going on, and I don't know what it's going to take to get people to wake up.
As the media frenzy swelled, Jasmine Crockett became the star of the show. Interviews, support from fellow progressives, and even finally someone saying it moments from everyday people started flooding in. It wasn't just that she exposed Musk. She made it clear that these billionaires are the hidden hands behind the chaos. Trump and Musk, they were looking more like desperate, uncoordinated allies than powerhouses of the American political machine. And while they both squirmed, the Democrats had a field day. They were painting the picture of a MAGA machine funded by people who, let's face it, have no business pretending to care about the common man. So now, the real question remains. Will Musk finally clap back, or will he just stay in hiding until the storm blows over? Will Trump demand even more loyalty from his billionaire buddy, or will their fragile alliance crumble under the weight of public scrutiny? And most importantly, will Jasmine Crockett double down and go even harder next time? One thing's for sure. The fallout from this drama is far from over.